Okay, here we go. I am right now. I'm in the business plan assignment. Just the worksheet, or just the plan itself, the write-up of the plan itself. Business plan assignment is worth 80 points, and I'm going down here to financial forecasts, 20 points. The first video I posted, and hopefully you watched that first one and did the startup cost analysis. That's this right here. And now with this video, I'm going to focus on sales forecasting. And then after this video, we'll do the income statement. So sales forecasting, first thing to note here is at least sales of two competitors must be cited using Reference USA or Manta.com. Manta is a free service similar to Reference USA. So if you don't have access to Reference USA, you live in a county where they don't have it in their library system, just log on to Manta.com and don't pay for the service. There's a free component to this, and the free component will work fine. So again, you'll need two competitor sales cited using Reference USA or Manta. All right, so that's element 7 here of the financial forecast. Sales forecast is where I'm at right now, and let me just jump into the sales forecast tab from the spreadsheet. Hold on a second. Okay, here I am. Notice again, this is financial forecasts, and when you went through your startup, let me bring this up a little bit, or I'll squeeze it in here a little bit. There we go. That first thing we did with the first video is we went through startup. Now I'm hitting this tab. We're going to sales forecast. So let me just get you the big picture of the spreadsheet. So it's right here, and it goes all the way over to there. And what we're doing with this spreadsheet is we're forecasting sales for 3 years. And the first year is going to be by month. And so we got month 2, or 1 through 12 here. And then we got total revenue for year 1. And then we put in total units for year 2. And it cranks out our total revenue. And then for year 3, we put in total units, and it cranks out our total revenue. Notice that everything in red is a calculated cell, as they say in Excel. So you don't have to do the math. You just have to plug in the numbers. What you want to do is plug in realistic numbers, though, or reasonable numbers, as I like to say. So that the basic equation here is, as for all sales, is unit price here times quantity sold, and that will crank out. So this first month, unit price of $1 times quantity sold of 10, and it gives us 50, because we did the same thing for product line 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let me show you that what you need to do for yours is you just need to put your product line in there. So for the startup cost, we did Karen's Fine Dining. So let's just continue this example and see what we come up with here for Karen's. Let's do the product. Let's do the sales forecast. So let's say the first thing she's going to sell is, and this is always a question that comes up: how do I forecast? It's a restaurant in Karen's case. Literally hundreds of items, perhaps on her menu, or maybe 30 or 40 for sure. And she's also selling wine and beer. And so it's not just food, and she's got breakfast, and she's got dinner, and all those kind of things. So there's a lot of things going on here. But the thing that you need to keep in mind with these spreadsheets here is that we're looking at the big picture. So I'm not trying to make this overly complicated. It's sort of a guesstimate, if you will, but an educated one. So let's think of a good way that we can forecast for Karen's Fine Dining. There's a lot of ways we could tackle this, and this is again one of the challenges that students face. Is they'll often ask me, I don't know how to do this, or what's the best way to do this. Honestly, there's more than one way to do it. But for this one, for Karen's Fine Dining, I'm gonna really forecast it by two meals of the day, because if fine dining usually isn't breakfast. She's not open for breakfast, but she is open for lunch, and she is open for dinner. So I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna go lunch, and I'm gonna go dinner, and then I'm gonna do wine and beer. We could do some other things. Maybe she was into catering, something like that, but I don't know that right now. But so we'll just do these, and we'll just forget about this this item here. We'll just do these 4. So we're gonna change the unit price, and we have to work in averages here. So let's just say, what's the average price for lunch at Karen's Fine Dining? Well, she caters to business folks, so they'll pay a little bit more. Maybe they're taking, clients out, and the company's paying for it, so they're okay with it being a little bit more expensive. So let's just say, on average, that the average meal for someone going to Karen's Fine Dining for lunch is $16. And dinner, that's 16,000. We don't want that. That's just a bit much. $16. All right, there we go. And then we got dinner. Well, it is fine dining after all. And people go there, they expect to be wined and dined, and they're willing to pay more for it. And so let's just say that the average price is, let's just make this kind of a classy place. We'll call it, it's $30. Not bad, $30. Average glass of wine. Let's see, she's got wine from all over the world because it's fine dining, but she's also got house wines. So how do we kind of come up with that? So she's got bottles of wine literally for $100. Even her highest bottle is $125, and her lowest bottle is, and this is what I would usually get, especially now that I'm married, right? I don't have to impress my wife with the wine anymore. I'm through that many years ago. So let's just say the average of the cheapest is like $20. So what is that? Let's do the math. Let's just say on average that it's that's expensive. We'll just say that $60. Nah, let's not do 60. That's too much money. Let's just say $40 for a bottle of wine. A bottle of wine. Okay, because people go there, they'll buy a bottle. And beer, they'll buy a what? Well, they'll just buy a regular beer, a glass of beer, tap of beer. So, and it's fine dining, so that she charges $5 a piece for that. Okay, so this is wine, and maybe I'll do this. I'll go wine, bottle, beer, glass. So, all right, and we got rid of this, so I'm going to delete this. This is nothing. This is deleted history. There you go. Got rid of it, moved it on. And I'm going to take all these black things, everything in black out, because those are things that I need to enter, and I just put them there as placeholders so you know they're there. So let's just kind of go through this, and hold on a second here. I'll get rid of them. I'll come back to you. Okay, so I got rid of all those black things, which that's the numbers that we enter, and again the red is what it'll just calculate. There's a formula up here that's calculating. So let's see. Let's think through the logic of this. So average price is $16 first month. So that's 4 weeks of lunch. So, and I think maybe Karen isn't open Sundays for lunch. I'm not sure, but let's just say that she's not. But at any rate, I'm going to take some guesstimates here, and I'm going to say the first month she's open, she did 200 breakfasts or lunches, sorry. And then for dinners, she did, let's just say 250. And for how many bottles of wine she sold? Well, let's just say she sold 15. And then beer, glass of beer. There's a lot of beer drinkers where this is located. This is located, let's just say St. Paul, so there's going to be a lot of beer drinkers there. So let's just say, well, heck, she sold 300 glasses of beer. So, got our numbers there, add it all up, total numbers, and I'm going to continue with that logic through each and every one of these months until I get my total figure here. So I'm not going to bore you with that. I am going to finish that myself, and I'm going to come back at you, and we're going to talk about it for a second. Okay. All right. So I'm creating this thing on the fly. I'm kind of laughing at myself here. Um, anyway, I realized it was rather stupid to have you add up all these numbers from uh, C, whatever it is, C5 to um, N5. And so what I just did is I put total units year one. So you don't have to. If that totally confused you, uh, don't worry about it. If you know Excel and you wonder why I didn't do it earlier, I don't know. That's life. It happens sometimes. Anyway, so here we go. Continue with my train of thought. So total units for year one, that for the total number of lunches that Karen's Fine Dining sold for year one is 380. She sold 380 lunches that we forecasted. And then for dinners, she sold 455 dinners total for the year. And for wine, the $40 bottle of wine, it's she sold 150. And then for beer, of course, you're going to sell more than that in St. Paul, 425 glasses of beer. So anyway, that's the total units for year one. And this is the total revenue. To get to the total revenue, all we're doing is timesing the price per item times the total units, and that's the total units, comes up with that. So 3,940 times 16 bucks equals this figure. 4,545 times 31 bucks equals that, and so on for each one of these. So okay, that's cool. Buy that. Now let's think about year two. Let's say, okay, well, she's going to sell more, hopefully. Right? Let's hope she does, or else she's got problems. So let's say that she bumped it up maybe 5, 10, 15%. Let's say that she bumped that up 15%. So I'm going to punch this in the calculator, and I'm going to see what I come up with. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm taking 3,940 units, and I'm going to say that she's going to increase this by 15%. So she's selling 15% more units of lunch at Karen's Fine Dining. So that's going to ramp this up to 4,531 total units. And that's the revenue by bumping it up that much. And we're keeping this figure the same. The unit price is the same. You know, it might be slightly unrealistic, but it still gives us a ballpark, because she might have raised the rates, but this is what we have for the spreadsheet. So it's reasonably close. Good enough. Okay, so she's increasing that to $72,496. So let's continue with that same logic. So in year one, she sold 4,554 units, or dinners, at an average price of, I believe, is $31. So let's increase this at the number that she sold again by 15%. So I'm going to times this $4,545 times 1.15 and see what I come up with. Okay, so when I do this, when I take this figure, total units in the first year, and I increase those total units by 15%, 1.15, this is the figure I get, $5,226.75. So I'm just going to go 5,227. I'm going to round up. And then for the next one, what I get is I increase this $8.95. This is the wine, the $40 bottle of wine, and I'm going to increase that by 15% from $8.95. The total number of units sold increased, so that's $1,029.20. So I'm just going to go 1,030. And same thing here. I'm going to do the 15% again. So this 4,385 different glasses of beer in St. Paul, that ramps up to 5,042.75. So 5,043. And here's what we got. So first year we had sales of a little bit over $260,000. Next year we had sales of over $300,000. So you know, that's starting to get, you know, more reasonable. This thing might work after all. Karen might be able to pay the bills after all. And then I'll just fill in some more things here. I'll ramp this. Maybe I'll take this figure here and I'll ramp it up maybe 15% again. I could do it 5, 10, whatever, but I'll ramp this figure up again and I'll put it here, and then we'll see what happens again. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be aggressive, because usually by this time this thing's been around for 2 years. You're starting this is your third year sales. What you sold after 3 years. You should have ramped up, established a name, all the things start working. You've worked through a lot of the bugs. So I'm going to say that from year 2 to year 3, sales increased actually a full 20%. Which is pretty darn significant. So I'll do the numbers here, I'll put them in, and I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, here we go. I times these figures by 1.2 and just rounded them up, and now I got the total units. Total units times the cost, and again the costs are way over here. Cost per unit, we kept them constant for each of the 3 years. Lunch 16, dinner 31, wine 40, glass of beer 50. Again, I understand this might not be completely accurate, probably most likely isn't, but it's pretty close, reasonably close. And with the sales forecast, we're kind of looking for the big picture here, and the logic that we used to generate it as much as anything, because it's not going to be this exactly, right? Probably not going to be, but if it's close, that's cool. So here's what we got in year 3. Revenue ramped all the way up to a little bit over $360,000. Well, you know what? Now we're talking, right? Look at it. It's essentially gone up $100,000 since year 1, and it's probably going to need to in order to make this thing a go. Because just very expensive operation here, all these people, etc. But by year 3, Karen's gotten smarter. The learning curve. She's buying from the right suppliers. She's hired new people and got rid of some who unfortunately didn't work out, etc. Or they left, or even good people left, and she got new ones. And she's just smarter. And she knows what her customers want, and she knows how to run the operation better. So by year 3, this is reasonable. This is reasonable. And now let's go back again, and let me bring up the spread. Let me bring up the assignment again, and let's talk for a second about the market research you need for this part of it, the sales forecast part. Okay, here we are again. So sales forecast, at least 2 competitors must be cited using Reference USA or Manta. And the reason why that's there is take a look and see, is this reasonable? By year 3, Karen's Fine Dining, she'll be selling that much. Well, what do other fine dinings and establishments in St. Paul sell? I think a lot of them sell a lot more than that, to be honest with you. And you can find that out really quickly. You're just using Reference USA or Manta, and by now you know how to use Reference USA, or you should. So it's easy to find this information out. And maybe this forecast is really low, maybe not high enough, or maybe Karen can figure out a way to make it on that kind of revenue, that kind of sales forecast. Maybe it's a small place, doesn't need to be big, but whatever. This whole exercise is really to kind of get your thought process in the game of what's reasonable, what are other people selling, what do you need, the mechanics of what you need to do to come up with something that can work for you. So anyway, that's it. I know I've rambled, but hopefully that's kind of walking you through the process here. So I did a video on startup cost analysis previously. I just am going to finish up sales forecasting now, and then we got one more to go, and that's the income statement. All right, talk to you soon.